word says, there we go.
Is it okay? All right, so Dan, so it's great to be back with you again. It's been a while, and here we are at Morocco Method in Central California. And I basically want to go over with you the 5 types of hair on the body and then get involved and explain why I created Morocco Method, how it's the most natural hair care line in the world, and what turned me off from using toxic chemicals was obviously cancer. I saw that back in the 1960s. So I was working in a very famous salon at Kennison, New York City. So that turned me into another direction, being a world-class hair colorist, to drop that whole career, continue my hair shaping. Then I got involved with Dr. Feng Yi, who's Bruce Lee's master in Peking. And he turned me on to this Qigong, and then I got very involved in the 5 types of hair. So the 5 types of hair on the body, the crown chakra, obviously the hair on our head. Then we have a beard, that's the 2nd type of hair. Then the eyelashes, eyebrows, hair in the nose, hair in the ears, 3rd type. Then we have the body hair. Then we have the pubic hair. So 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 senses, everything in the universe for us is structured for humanity in 5. And when I came down to realize the basic structure, then I decided I will create the 5 elements. So fire, air, earth, water, ether. So that's how I evolved into the shampoos, into the conditioners. So the shampoos are multifaceted. One obviously shampoos the head. Then you can shave with them, wash the body. You can do multiple different usages for the shampoo and the conditioners. So they're, and like you've been using them for years, and they don't foam. So the reason they don't foam is because there's no chemicals in them. We use like tea saponin, which the Chinese have been using for thousands of years to wash silk. So that was the origin of tea saponin. Besides drinking tea, they actually take the sap from the plants and use it as a natural surfactant. So that was perfect to create the surfactants for the shampoos. And I also use Sangragi Dragon from South America, which is the blood of the dragon. So that's another surfactant. Then we have all these.
What was the first one that you call it?
The tea saponin. So it's actually from the tea plant, you know, when you actually get green tea from China, and it's called the saponin.
Oh, okay, got it. And it's in all of the shampoos.
Yeah, and some of the conditioners and some of the other products, but it's in all the shampoos and the conditioners as a cleansing agent, and it's very naturally healing. So it's very moisturizing, and it's like used as also a hair conditioner. So that's why they're in both shampoos, conditioners.
So how did you come up with the 5 different formulas for the 5 different shampoos?
Yeah, well, that's where Master Feng came into play, and he's from Peking. He's an 8th degree black belt judo, and I studied back in the 1960s. I studied Qigong with him, and he introduced me to fire, air, earth, water, ether, the 5 elements. So I started through Qigong realizing we have 5 toes, 5 fingers, 5 senses, 5 weapons. There's 5 in all of these ancient healing arts. And so I realized that if we use one shampoo, the body will build an immunity against it. It's like you eating just broccoli. So if you ate broccoli and nothing else, after a while our bodies would break down, and then we would become immune to it. We would like not, it wouldn't properly detox or clean us properly. So I realized I had to do 5. So of course the apple cider vinegar is fire, the air is the pine shale. So these are elements from the earth, and the earth is obviously different clays we get extracted from all over the world, bentonite clays. Then we have the sea shampoo, which is marine, fire, air, earth, water, ether. So the ether is the 5th element, which is the workforce, which is the life force, which is like ki, chi. So there's a 5. And that's how I came up with the 5 shampoos. And we wild harvest mostly all the ingredients from all over the world. So it's not really even farmed. We go into the jungles.
How long have you been making the shampoo?
Well, I started around 1964 when I learned some basic botany from a woman named Rita. And she was from Bulgaria. And she was the one who turned me on to the big structure of botany and chemistry in a natural structure. So we started making natural shampoos and conditioners for Jackie Kennedy, for Lauren Bacall, for Nancy Sinatra, Lucille Ball. So when these clients came into Kenneth's, we would formulate a shampoo only for them as an individual. The same with the conditioners. So I got involved with the whole basics of botany around 1964, 65. And then around 1975, 77, I went to Europe and I toured Italy for a year and England for a year. And I basically did a more advanced natural study with locals on botany, and then wildcrafting ingredients from the mountains and from forests, so I could find that I wouldn't have to make anything in the laboratory. So from the conditioners, we went over into different products, which is the cream rinse. Then we got involved in the feng shui, which is like crushed walnuts. Mm-hmm. We got involved with styling products now. So styling products are really quite carcinogenic because they're mostly all polymers, which is liquid plastic. So several years ago, I decided it's really time to put out a natural styling product. So we came up with the blood of the dragon, sangre de dragon, again from South America. That's mostly aloe vera and sangre de dragon element. Then we came up with a pomade for a stronger hold. And then I created a curl power, which is a natural relaxant. So that created those three.
Were the clients that you were working with back then, were they becoming aware that the hair care that they were using was toxic?
No, back in the 60s, they really, people were not aware at all. People said, God, you're 35 years ahead of yourself, Morocco. So back in the 70s, when I got a little bit more involved with making more products, people were still like, why are you such a natural lunatic? Why are you so, fanatic about health? Because they really weren't aware of the carcinogenic that we are. With Google, basically opened up the world to a whole nother dimension for us. People can just go Google. But back in the 60s and 70s, you had to go to the library, drag out encyclopedias, go to a lecture, to get a little bit of information, right? Right. In the last 10 years, it's exploded. And so when I discovered transparency, I saw God. I said, thank you. All the gods and goddesses have now arrived. And I see it now more and more through transparency. As soon as something happens, it goes viral, for God's sakes, which we never had in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So our technology in that part is really astonishing and a blessing. If we don't abuse it, we're basically heading in the right direction. It's just like nature. If we don't abuse nature, we're heading in the right direction. When we abuse ourselves, we abuse everything. So we're not eating properly, we're not exercising, we're not thinking properly, we're not feeling properly. So we need to be in contact with Mother Nature, for God's sake. So that's the whole thing about Morocco Method, is getting back into awareness, and it's all about education. But back in the 60s, when I started discovering this, it's only because I was attracted to world-class acupuncturists, herbalists, Qigong masters, Feldenkrais, Alexander. I mean, high-class methods of healing and health. And of course, food. But the Chinese diet really got me turned on to realize it's all about digestion, which you're the master of digestion. So you understand that, and you educate your public audience on that. So bringing that all back into the 80s, I started to go out a little bit further into some of the 5-star health food stores. Some of my clients were still in the rich and famous category, and they would order cases. Like one client would order a case of each of the shampoos, a case of the elixirs, a case of the conditioners, which I started producing more and more, to the point now where we have our own manufacturing plant here in Central California. We have a 13,000 square foot manufacturing plant in San Luis Obispo, so we can produce the products at high quality without getting involved with any commercial procedures at all.
I mean,
so
that's the way to do it. With those clients that you had, really, Dakota would love that because she loves to just slather it on just thick and leave it on her head overnight. I think that's a great way to do it. I leave it in for a few hours or whatever, go down to the beach and rinse it out there. But I mean, if you can afford to do that, I mean, that would be the way to do it, because as far as I'm concerned, this here is kind of food for your hair, medicine for your hair, for your scalp.
Correct. So I'm glad you brought that up, because people with your type of hair and your girlfriend's type of hair, if you have really healthy, thick hair, you can leave it in for as long as you like. But if people have thin hair or sensitive scalps, they shouldn't be doing that. It should be like 5, 10, 15 minutes in the shower, rinse it out.
Yeah, okay.
Because if it dries, if you leave it in your hair overnight and it dries, when you move around on the pillow, you can break your hair.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take all of that into consideration. But you guys are living in right in nature. You're eating the ultimate raw food. You're exercising at the 9th degree. So your health practices are like at the maximum health levels. But other people, living in society with some stress, with some like being in the computer chair all the time, being in cars, getting back and forth to work, this type of situation, we recommend 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then if you can leave it in a longer and test it, but not to go directly like you guys are doing and leaving it in overnight. So that's really a great question.
How does the modern lifestyle affect the human hair?
Well, stress. So stress affects everything, including the hair. So the hair is the element of ether. So when the chi comes down from the spiritual world, we don't see the spiritual world unless we're in a level of enlightenment. So if we're enlightened, we've reached another plateau, then you can actually see the chi and experience the life force. So the ether is coming down and it touches the hair. So the first thing it touches is the 5 types of hair on the body, and they do different types of work. And if a person's not really healthy, they're having a stressful life, they're going to become desensitized. So they're not going to be able to move the chi and work with the life force energy like you guys are doing, especially the way you're living in a raw environment. So being here in a stress, if you're on medication, that's really numbing everything down, so the body's closing down. So I think 70% of America is on medication, which is shocking, but a reality now. So for God's sake, try to live a life of being less stressful. Google, go to the farmer's market. I tell everybody, contact your local farmers. Go to the farmers markets. Eat only local food. Don't go to the stores. Don't eat anything processed at all. But those are all levels of health. And then exercise. So if you're living under stress, just go for a 30-minute walk. But the products are a spoke in the wheel. You're not going to take a shampoo, put it on your hair, shampoo, and boom, you're all done. It's the same with health. You're not going to basically just eat a nice raw salad, and then you can just go back to doing whatever you like with the medications and all the other processed food.
That's brilliant. I love that. I mean, because it'd be unrealistic. Too many people say, here's this one thing and it's going to fix your whole problem.
Exactly.
But really, I love your approach, because it's like, this is just the Morocco method, the purity of it, the power of it, and the ingredients are an offshoot of my commitment to purity, quality, and same with you too. So it's like, I don't expect the Morocco method to do everything. I have to make sure I get my green juice, get a lot of fresh air, avoid stress, stay relaxed, because I think the hair and all the tissues are an offshoot of the energy, of your energy. So if you have a lot of energy flowing through you, you're going to have nice, thick, healthy, beautiful hair. And
you really understand this really well. And I've been watching your YouTube videos, and it's very impressive how you're telling the audience, including myself, is to like get out into nature. You know, go for a walk, eat raw food, you know, watch what you're doing, because we're trillions of cells, and every one of those cells needs oxygen. They need to be fed. They need to be no stress or little stress, like you're talking about meditation. And take that time out. For God's sake, there's like spokes in a wheel is what you live in, Dan. So you're living in health, happiness. You're living in nature, right? You're living with the mystery, the magic, the spirituality. Then now you have the wealth. So all of these are spokes in a wheel. Just like Morocco Method or any product is a spoke. And then where's the rest of it? Where's the health? Where's the happiness? God, for God's sake, we have to have our emotional center centered. We need to be calm. So then it brings up the breathing exercises, what you're talking about. Breathing is critical. That oxygenation to the body, as well as the raw food, we need to breathe properly. And that's another thing that you teach is how to breathe. It's oxygenating all the body, all the cells, and even the brain. So you're actually oxygenating fire, air, earth, water, ether, back to the spirituality, the mystery and magic. So I'm really encouraging everyone to bring back the mystery and magic into our lives, that spiritual ether, that chi. Yeah. So when you're eating, you actually have this calmness going on during your meal. So don't sit at a computer and eat lunch. Don't sit and watch television, for God's sake. They're going to sit down, and you are going to eventually eat. Make it a ritual, like Dan does. Make it a ritual. Bring nature into your life. Take a little meditation. Take that 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes, and just calm yourself down. Do a brief meditation. Gratitude. Give thanks for this food, where it came from, the soil, the air, the fire, the farmers, everything. We give gratitude toward it. That's our meditation. Then while we're eating, we're basically staying with our breath. And you're going to see your chi energies go through the ceiling by doing these simple rituals during our life.
Yeah, well, regeneration is a total lifestyle. And that's what, people call me for consultations, and they're, the reason why they're getting cancer or tumors or diabetes is because they're not living in accordance with the law. And I understand there's this kind of underlying desire to get people to go one way, but nature is over here. And if you follow your heart, it'll take you back to that, and there's something to be said about, keeping yourself clean. A lot of people don't value themselves, so they don't keep themselves clean. So they're not investing in things to keep their hair and their skin and their body healthy. And so that's what I've been trying to share with everyone, is it's a full lifestyle of self-love, self-care, and total regeneration from what I call the matrix. Or you can just go that way with the chemical shampoos and the chemical foods and the chemical lifestyle, and that'll kind of pull you down into depression, sadness, and disease. Or you can rise up into regeneration and illumination and enjoy all these beautiful things along the way. I have a couple of questions for you, Anthony. One thing that I've yet to use is the, and before I move on though, I want to say one thing, that at the website, there's tons of information, right? Free information. So whatever you miss, whatever we don't go over today, I mean, you could talk forever, and me too, but whatever we don't go over today, it's over there on the website, MoroccoMethod.com, and you can learn all kinds of stuff, get all kinds of audios and videos and downloads and all kinds of, PDFs and stuff to give you the instructions on how to use all this, keep your hair super healthy. I wanted to know about this Volcanic powder dry shampoo. How do I use this?
Yeah, so that's one of our newest products that I came up with. Is we've been a lot of requests for dry shampoo now. So you basically just part the hair, just spray a little bit into the part and massage it in, and then do another part, put a little bit in, massage it in. Part. So you keep parting, putting it in, especially women with long hair, where you got really thick hair, and then you just massage it in with your hands, and then the actual ingredients, all those clays and different types of herbs in there are going to start getting your sebaceous glands back to normal and taking away the excess oil. That's why we shampoo, to get the debris out of the hair, to get the excess oil out of the hair. You massage it in. Then you can brush it back and forth if you like, or get a scalp massager. And then basically that's a dry shampoo. So it keeps you from not over-accessing shampooing all the time. It's a nice change for just a powder dry shampoo. You know, the easiest way to use it, put it in, massage.
I mean, this is totally pure. This is like the purest thing ever. It's just pure stuff that you can recognize from the very first ingredient all the way to the very end. So I'm looking forward to that. I just wanted to hear back from you on that because I haven't tried that yet. I tried everything else and I love all the shampoos. There was some other things that I wanted to talk about. The elixirs. You sent me the elixirs, I think 4 years ago or something. And, you know, I never really told you this, but I was skeptical, you know, but I used this one whole set of these elixirs, starting from the golden and the silver and the Poseidon, Apollo, Pele, goddess, and then the ruby, emerald, and amber. You know, I kind of went, I don't know if I did it right, but I had been using Morocco Method for about a year before that. And I just did the two small ones first, and then I did the 4 medium ones, and then the 3 large ones. I mean, is it a system that you use in that way, or are they different phases of a whole system, or are there 3 separate elixirs for 3 separate things? Because I want everyone to know I grew hair. I mean, right up here on but within about 3 weeks, I started sprouting little hairs.
And you've been continuing growing hair ever since. I've been watching that. So I'm glad you're bringing up the Elixir series. Yes, it's a high education system. It's a system. So your starter is the silver and gold elixirs.
Yeah, okay. Well,
so you start off with those 2. And then you go on, like Dan's suggesting, that you go on our website, MoroccoMethod.com. There's videos on them. There's a lot of educational material on them. So I really suggest watching our videos first before using any of our products. And we're highly educated. So the website has a lot of education on it. So you can go step by step, little by little, the same as what we do with our lifestyle. So the gold and silver are the first 2 to start with. And then you'll have a whole regime how to use them. And then that lasts from 2 to 4 weeks. Then you give yourself a week's rest. So you don't do anything for a week to give the scalp, the sebaceous glands, a chance to rest, come back to normal. Then you go to the 4 series, the God and Goddess series, and then you take 1 per day, and you rotate that for a week, and you go back to 2 weeks, you go to 3 weeks, and then after a month, you give that another rest for a week. And then if you really want to go to the 3rd series, which is emerald, some ruby elixirs. So then that's a whole other series where you have videos on that. So there's 3 different sections of the elixir series, and each one is a stronger method. So you start off with the gold and silver, then you go to the 4 God and Goddess, then you go to the trilogy.
Okay.
Then that would be the correct way. But if you use it any way you want it, you're still going to get results like Dan has. But of course, Dan's in another category where he's so healthy. If he just sprinkles on his scalp, the hair's going to pop out. So you guys need to watch the videos, watch the educational literature, and follow that regime. And it's definitely going to get the scalp and the whole growth patterns and a whole healthy regime.
Yeah, so I mean, Morocco Method and raw food go hand in hand. I mean, for all the people, because I mean, that is one of the most common questions that I get. My hair is falling out. I went to a healthier diet. My hair is falling out. One of the reasons is because that hair was built from inferior stuff and it wants to start over and kind of regenerate itself. And a lot of the old stuff sloughs off. Very acidic hair. Is there a reason why that you can think of why people might start losing hair when they switch over to a healthier regimen?
Yeah, so that's really a great question also. So what I call spokes in a wheel, there's no single anything going on. We have to be synergistic and bring it all in. So when people start having hair loss, extreme hair loss is being caused by improper diet, wrong hair care products, no stimulation. You need blood and air into the scalp, for God's sake. You need to get the blood and air moving. So you switch over to Morocco Method hair care. That's one spoke in the wheel. So that's going to replace all the chemicals, all the carcinogenic chemicals that you're using. So stop all the other hair care. Then we have a whole regime about scalp massaging with a 100% natural scalp massager. And then we have brushing. So that's going to get the sebaceous glands, your oil glands, back into sync, because you could be oily or dry scalp. So all of these are spokes in the wheel. Then you go into diet, exercise, and living a life of calmness where you're not that stressed out. But the hair care products, if you are living a great life and you're still bleaching your hair, for God's sake, Brazilian blowouts, you're doing these processes that are really chemical. So if you go into a salon and the hairdresser says this is a natural hair color, that's not true. This is a natural perm, that's not true. They're saying they're having organic hair care products. You have to read the ingredients. You'll find out that you don't have such a thing as organic hair color. That's impossible. There's nothing that's going to lighten hair except chemicals. There's nothing that's going to color hair except chemicals, except henna. So we have a whole line of henna. So if you want to go natural, you need to use a plant. So that's another whole system. And we have dozens of videos on it. But like Dan is bringing up, hair loss is a combination of different things. So starting off with stop all the chemical hair care products, especially the young guys and girls with all the styling products. You're realizing if you read the ingredients, it's all going to be polymer this and polymer that. So what you're putting on your hair goes into your scalp. 70% of it goes into our bloodstream, for God's sake, and that causes disease. So the polymers are liquid plastic. For lack of a simpler explanation, they're literally having synthetic petroleum-based products, plastics, that they're liquefying and calling them styling products. So we have...
That's got to plug up from the outside, the possibilities, right? Just
big time. Yeah, big time. That's really what Dan's bringing up. This is actually coating, plugging up the growth process, the sebaceous glands, your oil glands, the hair follicle. Everything's going to start shutting down, and you're going to go into a compromised immune system. So we have to detox. Anything that goes in must come out. Anything that goes in must come out. Like Dan talks about, what you eat, you have to process it, get it out of your system. The same thing with skin care and hair care and dental care. You have to detox it. That's why we have videos and educational systems on Morocco Method about detox. When you start using our products, you will start detoxing the liquid plastics, all the waxes off of your hair and scalp, and then you're going to go down deeper into the chemicals and start detoxing those. So we have Zen Detox. So the Zen Detox is another fabulous product that we have that you actually mix, watch videos, put it on, leave it on. It'll start pulling out these toxins very deeply from the follicle to the sebaceous glands to the growth process, right down into the roots of our hair.
So wow, it's, you know what's funny, Anthony? As you're talking, I'm seeing how you know, between you and I, we're covering both sides of the issue, because sometimes we think we can only grow hair from the inside out. Other people have that idea of using this from the outside in.
Very good.
I both realize that it's you want to feed your hair and your energy from the inside out, and use these to pull the old crap out and to clean and, you know, get the scalp nice and clean. And one thing I wanted to mention that will, you know, clog up the hair follicles faster than anything are the highly heated fats. And that's why cooked fats do turn into plastic from the inside out and turn people into just, it's blobs and it's hardening, and it's like cooked fat, high fried fats, fried oils are literally like plastic in the body. So when we do this and we do the living foods and the raw fats, then now we've got a system of beauty, true beauty. And I've seen it. I wish I could make a video explaining real beauty and how to take care of yourself. But right now, the chemicals are cheap, they're heavily promoted, and they're spreading them on their face and their hair, and they're eating the chemicalized food. And there's a temporary beauty at the loss of the real radiant, rosy circulation. And so that is what I want to emphasize, is the purity on the outside and purity on the inside. Now you have a winning combination for youthfulness, vitality, health, and true beauty that doesn't, you know, you don't need a lot of makeup, just a little tiny touch-ups, but you have a natural radiance coming from the food and the avoidance of the chemicals. And that's why I think that raw foods and Morocco Method are a magnificent combination.
Yeah, you really walk your talk, Dan. I'm glad you're bringing this all up and helping everyone to basically get more aware. So the big problem is consumerism. So the United States leads the world in consumerism. The world watches us. They wear jeans. They're eating all these fast food junk things, these carcinogenic food processes. They're disgusting, actually. And all of this, what Dan's talking about, is plugging up the system, which causes disease. So when you live a pure life, you go little by little. We don't expect someone to dive off the cliff. You need to actually walk up the mountain, take a look at where you're going, assess the attitude, where you're going, what's happening, and then everything that comes in has to come out. So if you're eating food that's producing plastic and you're using hair care that's polymers plastic, what do you think the inside of the system is doing? It's shocked. So it can only digest to a certain point. It only can detox from a certain point. And eventually it's going to break down. The immune system is going to surrender. It's going to weaken. And then it's disease. Dis-ease. It's not at ease any longer. It's at a complete confusion level. So for God's sakes, whatever we're putting in the body, and Dan's got a great point, whether you put it on from the outside or you put it on from the inside, you have to have healthy everything going in, but nature, not consumerism. Don't go to the stores and buy all this stuff like makeup, just a very little bit, and then use it as a luxury item. Don't start using all this stuff as a daily routine, because that's where the stress and the strain, and of course, the whole thing about we're not living a natural life, we get sidetracked. And Dan's been the prime example of living where he lives, the life that he's living with his family and friends, and showing everyone, like, little by little, you're doing it from the inside out. He has great videos and a lot of educational YouTube all over the place on anything you can't even imagine. So Morocco Method endorses Dan. I've known you for now 5 years very intimately.
Yeah, I really appreciate that, Anthony. I mean, I'm going to say, too, I haven't had a chance to talk with you in a while. You know, I've been talking with everybody over, you know, that representation stuff because I know you're busy. But I wanted to say thank you for all the things you've done, you know, and you and I are the only ones that really know, but you've been a very big blessing to me. And just, I have so much love and respect for you. It's so nice to be with you today, to just talk to you face to face and just say hi and thank you, you know, in person, over the computer, of course. But
yeah, 13 million thank yous to you, Dan, and I really support you, and I'm always here for you, and Morocco Method team is here for you, and I know your team is here for us. It's a mutual exchange, and that's what we need to share with the world. Get more engaged, get more exchanged, help them shoulder to shoulder with our sisters and brothers. So honestly, man, it's like the best thing we can do is be really giving back to our society. It's giving back to humanity. It's sharing the blessings that we have in our life, like we share back and forth with each other and also with our audiences and with humanity. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I want to make sure everyone's aware, again, just to reiterate, that they should go to the website and get more free information just laid out. They can find all kinds of different things that they might need for their specific issues and everything else. And I think we covered it well enough to just get people inspired with kind of we hit some really good points, you know, and of course we could go on forever, but I want to lead everybody over to MoroccoMethod.com, and I think we're pretty good to go here, unless there's anything else you want to add.
No, we're done. It's like, it was perfect. We covered everything imaginable. So we're going to have to like socially get together pretty soon and catch up on our own personal stuff.
All right, Anthony. Well, thank you, my brother.
All right.
I really appreciate, I love Morocco Method, man. I love it, love it, love it. It is a daily part of my life, and I'm not going to go without it. So
you'll always have it, and we'll always have you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Aloha. Thank you, and thank everyone over there. I'll see you all soon.
All right. Aloha.
Peace be with you.